Nice. I think we're pretty good to go. Let me just quickly check some last minute things. Hopefully the sound and music are fine. If you guys want to just tell me if it's too loud for either, that'd be awesome. We do need that setting, that's correct. Display card preview window. Okay. Shadowspear. Nice. Nice. Welcome back to Dukes on Twitch. Back today with another Legacy video. This time back with Green White Maverick. So, Green White Maverick is the most traditional version of the Legacy archetype. It's definitely the most consistent as well, with just the green white mana base. We are playing some spicy cards today, which is really fun. Which should be really fun to play with. Those are Shadowspear and Dryad Militant. So Dryad Militant I think is actually quite good right now. It's, in my opinion, a lot better than Galactic against the Breach decks. So these are the Storm decks playing the new red equipment, sorry, the new red enchantment that I am going to blank on right now. Something Breach. How can I know this? I even pulled one at pre-release. Oh my god. Okay, Legacy Breach. But yeah, I think Dryad Militant as a 1 mana 2/1 is just Underworld Breach. There we go. Thank you very much. Yeah, I think Dryad Militant is the perfect answer to Underworld Breach. Being able to exile things like Brain Freeze or Pact Negation, or really anything like from a Ponder to a Brainstorm can be really impactful. And against a lot of the decks that run Snapcaster as well, Dryad Militant, of course, is a pretty great card. It does trade with an Ambush Viper Snapcaster Mage, but I think what the work that it does just by itself on the field is really nice. Against a lot of the decks that we wanted against, it kind of acts like a Rest in Peace, which is cool because this deck playing another Reliquary and Scavenging Ooze and sometimes Ramming Up Excavator doesn't really want to exile the graveyard as a resource for us. So Dryad Militant really only hitting our opponents is really nice. There are some players who play Tarmogoyf as a one-of in Maverick, and of course Dryad Militant wouldn't be the greatest in a Tarmogoyf build, but yeah, I think she's really powerful. I think in the right meta, she can be a great addition to the Maverick team, and I think that addition might be right now, especially with the amount of people trying out Breach. Not just because it's a broken deck or people are still trying to figure out what it is, and what the best color coordination is for it. I think it's just great there's a number of people testing it, maybe even people that don't usually test Storm decks, just because maybe they want to try it out while it's still a thing in Legacy. Not that I'm calling for a ban, but I think that it's definitely a very powerful card that will probably get a lot of eyes on it over the coming months as people move from testing with it to actually playing with it, putting up, big performances at GPs and let me move that camera. There we go. Yeah, I think it's gonna be really strong. Shadowspear, on the other hand, is an interesting one. So Shadowspear in this deck is... I'm going to back up first. I'm going to say that Maverick traditionally isn't a Batterskull deck. You don't really need the 4/4 beater, where a deck like Death and Taxes may need something like a Batterskull to really apply pressure from the early game, while they set up a number of sort of smaller hate bears to disrupt their opponent. So, attacking for 2s and 1s with Stoneforge Mystics and Thalias can be great, but Death and Taxes really relies on Batterskull for an early game threat. So that's always... Vince, thank you very much for the host. So yeah, Maverick, usually with neither Reliquary and other big creatures, it doesn't need Batterskull as much as some other Stoneforge Mystics decks do. So Shadowspear, in a way, gives us that lifelink that can be relevant. It gives us Trample, which is great. There's been countless games, especially on this stream, where we've had something like, a 12/12 Knight, and our opponents had something like a Baleful Strix or a True Name Nemesis, Young Pyromancer tokens. The Trample is actually it's really nice to have in this deck, where otherwise it may have it really gets us out of stalemates. That's what I'm trying to say. Shadowspear can allow us to get damage through something that otherwise we may not have been able to get through. It also means it gets over things like protection, which is nice. So If a Mother of Runes gives an opposing creature protection from green and we attack with a 12/12 Knight, you know, we're still dealing X damage over the top, so... Yeah, which is really nice, because I think there's definitely a lot of games where you can get in that early damage, and even if you have, you know, a 12/12 Knight, and your opponent's on 6 or 7 life, it's just like it's usually a 1/1 creature that's, or an X1 creature that's stopping you. It's a True Nemesis, it's a Baleful Strix, it's an Icewind Codal, it's a Young Pyromancer token, so that should be really nice to see where it's relevant. The part about permanents your opponents control lose hexproof and indestructibility until end of turn is a little bit more linear. There's not too many sort of legacy staples with either of those keywords. Indestructibility is on Maverick Lage, but I think we already have a pretty good matchup against Maverick Lage, and we're not running anything like Death Touch creatures or Abrupt Decay, so that might not actually come up. Hexproof isn't something either. I know that Andrea Mangucci was playing a Boggles deck with Invisible Stalker, so if we see that, that'll be pretty cool. So yeah, Shadowspear should be really sweet. The other really cool thing about Shadowspear compared to Batterskull, if you do want to compare it, is that Batterskull can be stuck in your hand a little bit longer than, of course, Shadowspear would. If you go for something like a turn 2 Stoneforge Mystic and they destroy the Mystic, then definitely in Death and Taxes, you're waiting until turn 5 to cast it. For us, we do have things like Mana Dorks or Gaia's Cradle to get out earlier, but there are definitely situations where Batterskull just becomes a bit of a dead card in the hand. So Shadowspear being a 1 mana equipment with a 2 mana equip is looking really nice. So we'll see how this goes. Hey, Biggie Schmoll, thanks for coming in. I mean, turn 3 play and equip Shadowspear to a Stoneforge Mystic isn't the worst thing in the world. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think one thing that this deck definitely gains over others is having small creatures, but a lot of creatures that actually help out with Exalted. So a lot of the times we're not actually just attacking for 1 or 2. We are attacking for, you know, at least a decent amount. Something you could probably put up against, say, like a turn 1 Delver, which is kind of nice. Another thing with Shadowspear is that it actually pumps the creatures as well. So there's lots of cases where you might have a Jide in play and a Birds of Paradise, but no actual way of dealing damage with the bird to trigger the Jide. So having another cheap equipment that you can actually put on the birds and then put on the Jide in that very small scenario is just really nice as well. It can even do things like keep a Thalia alive through a Plague Engineer, and attack with, you know, first strike each turn into a Plague Engineer that can't really block very well. So yeah, Shadowspear should be pretty sweet. To the board, we're running Leylines right now as the graveyard hate of choice. Surgical does have its time. Same with Fairy Macabre. But I think right now, the decks that are using graveyards are using the whole graveyard as a resource. Not so much 1 or 2 specific cards or parts of the graveyard. So being able to hit the graveyard from turn 0 is really nice. And turning it all off as a resource is pretty fantastic. There's definitely a little bit less of a gotcha moment with Leyline. There can be if your opponent maybe sideboards incorrectly. But I think right now, Leyline's really where you want to be. And just the ability to not really care about not having, you know, using Surgical on something like Life and Alone, but then seeing that they also have Punishing Fire, or, you know, Surgicaling out Grave Titan, and then they have Grizzlebrand, or vice versa. Leyline's kind of just a clean answer to some of the graveyard decks. And especially with Breach right now, Breach is pretty hard to Surgical or Fairy Macabre against, but at least Leyline makes them have to have the bounce effect or the removal effect before they go off. And usually in that time, you can set up a board presence that is also going to impact them pretty well. So Leyline's pretty sweet. We do have a way to cast it in the deck. We found that out last game. So if we have Birds of Paradise, which can produce any color, and Scrib Ranger, which can untap creatures, we can produce the double black for the Leyline if we need to hard cast it, which is very cool. The other thing in this deck that I haven't really talked about is Mirran Crusader. Something you don't usually see in Green White Maverick decks, because you kind of want the creatures to be centered around Green Sun Zenith, because of course the more green creatures in the deck, the more powerful Green Sun Zenith is going to be. You're going to have a lot more answers to a lot of different decks, and especially for a deck that doesn't play Brainstorm, isn't a combo deck, you really want to make sure that you're at least putting up a fight against a lot of the sort of tier 1 decks or combo decks of the format. So having Green Suns there to get something like Gaddock Teague against the combo decks, or, you know, Scavenging Ooze against the graveyard decks, it's pretty important. But I think because of Oko in the format, although it's maybe come down since Breach has come up, it's really nice to have a creature that can attack Oko. It can't be hit. It can't be hit by Oko. It can't be blocked by the green creatures it produces. It can't be Abrupt Decay, which is pretty big right now. It also attacks for a lot more than 2 most of the time, due to Exalted in Noble Hierarch or Kusali Pride Mage. And it's just a great card to have in a deck with equipment as well. So unlike Death and Taxes, we can also get this out turn 2 with a Mana Dork, which is really nice. And yeah, I mean, I don't really have to sell Mirren. It just does what it does. Against some matchups, it might be a bit fair. It's really just a 2/2 with double strike against a lot of the decks, but sometimes that can just be enough, especially when you rely on other cards like Thalia or Gaddock Teague to sort of keep them at bay with their unfair stuff. Yeah, so Mirren will be really interesting, especially with Shadowspear, but it's very interesting to see as well people in chat saying that it's been good, it hasn't been good about in Modern, with Shadowspear in Modern, which is fair enough. I think that there's definitely a lot more room for testing, so it'll be interesting to see how it goes. Yeah, that's actually a really great point. So Vince said, of course, when would you want to go for Shadowspear if you don't already have Sword of Fire and Ice or Jide out? And that's a good one. And I think that's something that it's gonna be like a eureka moment, maybe in a game where I go, hey, I actually really want Shadowspear right now. And the issue is that Sword of Fire and Ice already gets me through, you know, your Tree Name Nemesis, your Baleful Strixers, your Young Pyromancer tokens, your Icefang Codals, really the 5 big creatures that you care about. So maybe it's a case of when I guess if I'm low on mana and I still want a way to get through some of those creatures, maybe that's the way. So say if I'm stuck on 3 mana and I have like a beater, and I'm just wanting to try to win the game before my opponent can kind of take the control over it because I'm in a mana hindrance compared to them. But yeah, that's a tough one, because Batterskull usually... One reason that I didn't like Stoneforge for a long time in Maverick was because it really was just an equipment fetcher. I always put on a New Zealand accent when I say that. Equipment fetcher. So if you played a Stoneforge without Batterskull, it wasn't that bad. Your opponent could wait for some sort of equip before destroying it. Stoneforge with Batterskull is just so much more powerful because some of your opponents just have to have that removal spell, or, you know, Batterskull is going to take over the game. But I think that's definitely changed a lot recently as the metas turn towards some of the new cards like Oko, which is a great answer to Batterskull, Brazen Burrower in Blue-Red Delver, which is really nice. I am not from New Zealand. I am from Australia, which are 2 different countries. But yeah, I think there's a lot more answers to Batterskull in the decks that used to maybe fold to them a little bit more than they do now. So yeah, Shadowspear is going to be really interesting. I'm really keen to see how it goes. But that's enough talking. Let's get into a game. Let's see how this goes. And hopefully it's pretty good. You know, I think the rest of the deck is pretty consistent. I think Maverick definitely relies on consistency, so having a lot of 4-ofs, and a lot of ways to start the game out on the same sort of plan is really nice, especially with Green Sun, Zenith, and Dryad Arbor. You know, we nearly have nearly 10 ways to start off with a Mana Dork in play, which is nice. Haha, hey, Scrommy, thank you very much. That's really cool to hear. I hope the website is doing you well. I know that I gotta find his name. There is a really good article on the Green Sun Zenith, I believe it was Jordan Monston, about building Maverick on a budget. Let me just quickly get to the bottom. It was Jordan. Yeah, this is probably one of the better articles. Oh, it's gone. Just going to quickly set this up. Yeah, so Jordan actually wrote this, building Legacy Maverick on a budget on the Green Sun Zenith. And it's probably the best piece it's done since the site was born. So a huge shout out to Jordan and his work, because hopefully I'll get him back on the team and see how it goes. Hey, Latom, thanks for the follow. Let me know where you're from. If you play Legacy, what do you play in Legacy? Hey, Biggie, thanks for the follow. Let me know where you're from. If you play Legacy, what do you play in Legacy? Alright, we are doing a Legacy League. We're using play points. This is sweet. Hey, Laboom. Thanks for the follow. Let me know where you're from. If you play Legacy, what do you play in Legacy? Maybe some of you guys are Maverick fans, hopefully. Not just Legacy fans in general. Legacy obviously has a pretty good community. We have a pretty strong group in Brisbane, where I'm from, in Australia, but I think times recently have been a little bit tough with timing and just, you know, Legacy's got that crowd of life just getting in the way. You know, people wanting to buy houses, having kids, you know, really getting stuck into their jobs. For one community that you might have 1 year, it might be completely different the next. So it's always nice to cherish the moments that you have. As soon as you said stacks and EDH, I was like, yes, that's what I love. Oh, that's cool. Nice. What sort of one-ofs are you missing, Scrummy? That's even better. Stacks without combo is just the way, for some people believe, is how Magic should be played. So I commend you on that. That's yeah, that's a good one. Hey, Knight. Yeah, that's fair enough. Sorry, yeah, Knight Rider at 79. Just saw your thing about Zero Birds. I think Birds is really nice as well, just with Mother of Runes. Being able to block something like a Delver of Secrets or a Marit Lays, just 1 or 2 turns, can give you just that space you need to set up maybe a win on your end, which is cool. But at the same time, I can definitely see a list without Birds. It probably is one of the weakest top decks. It isn't great without, you know, it's not a creature that can attack with Jade on its own. For some of the things that you want your creatures to do in Maverick, Birds relies a lot more on other creatures than, you know, Noble Hierarch does, or even Dryad Arbor does. But it would be interesting to see maybe some other type of, maybe like Gilded Goose would be kind of cool. Gilded Goose at least does something outside of just being a flyer that can add mana. Hey Phil, if you're still here, do you have Legacy that you go to in paper? Does London have a good sort of weekly scene or monthly scene? Unban Mental Misstep. I went 2 on at my Legacy weekly at CFB. I'm on LED Dredge, but also own Bant Miracles, Turbodeps, and Death. Oh, what is DETH? That's an interesting one, but nice 2-1. That's sweet. So this hand's pretty interesting. It's got a really nice curve. So we have protection and Mother of Runes. We have a great 2-drop against combo and Gadok Tig. We have a Mirren that we currently can't cast, but it is a pretty nice 3-drop that I think by that turn we're going to be able to cast it. So I'm pretty happy to keep this. I don't know what my opponent's on, but I think we have some pretty good cards here. Dryad Arbor is a little bit rough. Not really a card you want in your opening, but you know, I think just because we have these early up, it's going to be okay. Ancient Tomb, Chalice for 1. Okay. That most likely means that I'm just going to go with the Forest and pass. I don't want my opponent to do something like Wasteland me and then do something else, but I'm going to assume this is probably some sort of Eldrazi deck. But I think Forest Pass is fine. Could also go for Dried Arbor here. I wouldn't want to play Dried Arbor if I knew my opponent was on some number of Walking Blister, perhaps. So I think the safe play here is just play Forest and pass. Ah, very cool. That's sweet. Yeah, I know there's also a... Oh, okay, this looks like maybe Eldrazi and Taxes. Interesting. So that's definitely a reason why I might have wanted to play the dual land first, but I'm pretty sure that these Eldrazi and Taxes decks do play some number of Wastelands, so hopefully we don't get stuck underneath this Thalia Heretic Cathar. If they're on red, yeah, especially if they have cards like Fiery Confluence. Don't know if they play anything like Chandra. This could definitely be Soldier Stompy as well. It hasn't really given away what they're on. Savannah's interesting. Thought not. Okay. This looks like Green Model Eldrazi, which we actually played on the stream a few weeks ago. Be interesting to see what they take. But this is a pretty good clock as well. We're going to be at 10 next turn because we can't make any blocks this turn coming. Luckily, we do still have the 4 Swords to Plowshares in the deck, so... Ah, plays Torture Defiance. Okay, cool. Yeah, Chandra can be pretty rough for this deck. So yeah, Galactique's a pretty nice card there. Thalia is actually quite annoying. Even if we draw into Karakas, which is a pretty clean answer for Thalia, you know, it comes in tapped, deals another 3, gives them a turn to draw something like... oh, there's Shadowspear. So here I'm pretty happy. Trying to think about my future turns. So the Shadowspear and the Mum are dead, pretty much to the Chalice. Thalia is okay here. It comes in tapped, but it will trade off with the Thalia if they attack with it later on. I'm definitely playing the Dried Arbor that comes in tapped. I don't really want to play the Qasali with no mana open. I'd rather play it when I do have mana open. So I think I'm pretty happy just playing Thalia here. Against Green-White, I don't think Galactique does anything against this sort of deck, unless they also have another Chalice and they Chalice for 2. I did have Hex Drink in the main for a little bit, but I did move over to Dryad Militant. Just because I found that Hex Drinker was getting hit a lot with Terminus, Supreme Verdict, and Oko, and Swords to Plowshares wasn't around a whole lot, which is pretty rough. I still think Hex Drinker is a really powerful card. It's just a case of not having enough cards to... It was the card I cut for Dryad Militant. It just seemed like the clear kind of cut as a 1-drop for a 1-drop, and a beater for a beater. But yeah, I've seen some really cool lists on the 5-0 League sort of area, where there's a number of, you know, Hex Drinkers in some decks, anywhere up to 3, which is very cool. Don't be a Walking Blister. Okay, so it is Chalice for 2. Okay, so I guess Second Teague would have stopped that, but can't really do too much there. So the funny, well, not the funny thing, but we can't really do anything here. We can't cast any 2-drops, we can't cast any 1-drops, and we can't even cast a Sword of Fire and Ice because we need 4 mana for it. So there's definitely a great reason, again, why we could have gone with either Qasali or Galactique last turn. So here we kind of just got to pass. I guess I could attack with a Dried Arbor, because I'm definitely not using it to block anything. Our opponent's also at 10. So that Ancient Tomb is doing a lot of work for us, which is kind of nice. Nice hand. Haha, yeah. Yeah, so there is the advantage that this looks like Reality Smasher. The one boost for Hex Drinker that it has against Oko is that it keeps the +1/+1 counters on it, so it isn't just a 3/3. But of course, as a 3/3 with just a bunch of counters on it, it's a lot easier to deal with than a creature that's got protection from instants. Do we have a good post board? We have some cards. So I'm going to bring in the Part to Exile, the Banishing Lights, the Council's Judgment. I don't think the Collect Roof is relevant. I don't believe they play any sort of... Okay, well, Walking Ballista is pretty nice. And maybe a pretty good reason. They actually have the... yeah, they pretty much have the win here. They can swing in for 7 here, and then just pretty much have it with Walking Ballista. So we'll just concede here. I think the big issue with that game as well was that the Chalice deck was on the play, which can be pretty rough. But here I'm pretty happy to take out Thalia's, Gadok Teague, and just bring in removal. So Path, Council's Judgment, and Banishing Light. We also have one more card we can bring in. The funny thing with Veil of Summer is that it can make all our cards uncounterable. So if there's a Chalice for 2, we can cast this and then cast any amount of 2-drops that we have. But I think most of the time Chalice is going to be on 1, so Veil's pretty dead. Collect Off is interesting. Maybe I just want it in the deck in case my opponent does go towards a Walking Ballista start. It does turn off our equipment, but I think a lot of the time we won't have both in play, which is nice. And hopefully that doesn't come back to bite me. Yeah, they could bring in Grave Hate. They're a deck that could most likely be running Rest in Peace in the board. This is a white deck, or Green-White Eldrazi is a white deck that... oh, this is actually a really nice hand. I'm going to keep this for sure. Yeah, Green-White Eldrazi is a deck that can run Rest in Peace and doesn't really get hit by it, which is pretty cool. So we can go turn 1, Noble Hierarch. Turn 2, we can play 3 mana. 1, 2, 3. A number of things. I think the Sylvan Library is probably the most important card here, just because it allows us to really get ahead of our opponent in card advantage. Getting a Noble down as well before Chalice is just so nice as well. Mox Diamond, okay. I believe they also play Stoneforge Mystic, which is what we might be seeing here. Ballista, interesting. I wonder if that is ping. Okay. That's pretty good for them because it does mean this Cradle's a lot less effective. But we do get to do some cool stuff. Actually, really, we just get to do the Noble Hierarch pass. The Scrib Range is really nice with just the 1 land as well. Hey, TK Tech, a huge thank you for the 10 months. That's really cool. Very much appreciated. We have to do something for that, for sure. Ah, gotcha. Not at all. Not at all. We all make little mistakes. So this is interesting. So we can. I kind of want to use the Cradle last. I guess it doesn't matter if the Scrib Ranger comes in tapped. So let's go Scrib Ranger. Untap Noble, return the Savannah. Play Savannah. Oh no, I should have played it after. Yeah, I was going to swords this and get through. In that case, that's a punt. I guess in that case, I just want to play this Sylvan Library and hold up Swords to Plowshares. I think that's the best. I think that's the best bet. So let's go with Sylvan Library and then just hold up Swords to Plowshares. I guess we can hold up Swords to Plowshares anyway because we can just return cards with Scrib Ranger to untap the Noble Hierarch, but I believe my opponent also plays only 1 Caracas, so I wasn't too afraid of just, you know, not swordsing in my turn, allowing them to untap and maybe play a second Caracas, because, yeah, I don't think they have more than 1 in this deck. This could be like Palace Jailer, which would be kind of cool. All white mana. Palace Jailer, okay. Interesting. What do you take? Probably the Scrib. It can fly, let's be honest. Taking that. Is there anything that I want to do? There is not. They can't attack here because they most likely know we have Swords to Plowshares. Alright. So before they draw, we can... to be fair, there's also... So there, maybe I should have Swords the Palace Jailer, because we also have the out of drawing into Caracas. To Caracas the Thalia, which actually comes in tap, so it doesn't work either. Alright, what do we draw into? Savannah. Mirren and a land. I think we just pay here. Our opponent doesn't have a great clock, so I'm pretty happy to pay. Now what do we want to do? So if we play Stoneforge Mystic, we have access to 3 mana again, so we can play either Knight or Mirren Crusader. And I think it's Knight that's just the better card. So let's go with Horizon Canopy. Stoneforge Mystic. Shadowspear is kind of interesting here because it does mean we get Trample, which actually can get the Monarch. So maybe the Shadowspear is actually kind of nice. It's also probably the equipment that I want to see the least off the top of my library next turn. So if they Thought Knot us, I don't really care if they take the Shadowspear or not. What's your go-to choice of alcohol? Definitely beer. Big fan of craft beer. I actually have an American beer that's really nice, but its name is not hitting me. Mirren with Shadowspear is pretty nice as well. Yeah, Furfies are actually pretty good. TK Tech's got it down right. Furphy is a pretty nice, I believe, Victorian beer. Caracas. Okay. So they do play multiple Caracas. Interesting. Thalia. That's going to be fine. Revoker. Okay. Maybe naming Shadowspear. We do get a free look at Sylvan Library, which is really nice. I've definitely had some pretty good nights on vodka. Oh, they named Knight. Okay, that makes a lot of sense as well. Oh, but now we have we do have a chance here of actually just attacking with Knight. Collector Oof. Oh, Jide and Judgment. That's an interesting one. What do I want to do here? So this turn we'll have access to 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 mana. So we can play Shadowspear and equip it. And also Council's Judgment. I think I like that. I think I really like that. So let's put this back. Put this back and just, yeah. Put on top, put on top. This Savannah does come in tapped, so I think I want to use it last. So let's go white, white, 3 green. Council's Judgment. Name Thalia. It's definitely the most annoying. Because I can't even get Caracas because it comes in tap. So let's go for Thalia. Oh, this is going to be sweet because now we get to also if we get the crown, we can also get the Scrib Ranger back and untap the Knight to be on the defense. So now we can play a land. We can play Shadowspear. We can equip Shadowspear to the Knight. This is magic, my friends. Go to attacks. Attack for 5 because of Exalted, and it means that it can't actually be killed by a double block. Shadowspear was exactly what we wanted. Everything else wouldn't get through, but Shadowspear is allowing us to... Okay, well that's how good Shadowspear is. So good. So what we could do there is attack with Knight, we get Exalted, they can block whatever they do, we get the Monarch because we deal combat damage through Trample, we then get back to Squib Ranger, which means we can then have Knight of the Reliquary untapped. Insane. Insane. Orion Moontail, thanks for the follow. Let me know where you're from. If you play Legacy, what you play in Legacy. So that's a nice one to get out of. I think we'll just play the same list and send it back and see how it goes. Happy Feet. Yeah, 100%. 100% Happy Feet. This hand is nice because it also has an answer to Chalice on 1, which kind of wrecks this hand, at least for the first few turns. So I'm happy to keep this. What this hand is really weak against is, like, turn 1 Chalice, turn 2 Thought-Knot Seer, take the Banishing Light, and I think we're about to see part 1 of that. Okay, well there's part 1. So if we draw the Wasteland, do we Wasteland? We don't, but we do draw a Noble Hierarch, which is actually really nice here, because I'm going to go for... Oh, I can't actually cast it because of the Chalice. I should have thought of that first. So the question is, do we want to go for a basic here or not? I really wanted to keep the Windswept Heath around because, you know, Wasteland kind of destroys his hand as well. So I think he would just have to go for a Plains Pass. A little bit of a misplay. Okay. Land, perfect. Comes in tapped, but that's going to be fine. But it just shows how much this hand is slowed down by both Chalice and Thalia. And maybe I shouldn't have gone for a basic, because now my chances of drawing into a basic are just that little bit more thin. And it's really what I want. I mean, I want to, you know, next turn I want to be able to Banishing Light this Chalice of the Void, but I don't think it's going to happen. Ballista, okay, interesting. Green Suns. Doesn't do a whole lot because of Walking Ballista. So sadly it's going to be Land Pass. Yeah, I'm always terrified when I talk through Chalice and then it's on board and then our hand's turned off. And then I just draw a 1-drop and I immediately like, oh, that's a great play. That's a great play turn 1. Spyglass, okay. I just hope they don't have like another Chalice. That'd be pretty brutal. This turn we take 5. Getting pretty close. Don't be Thought-Knot Seer. This can't be Thought-Knot. Okay, they're gonna pump the Ballista. Okay, attack for 6, put us to 10. Ooh, and then we're nearly dead next turn. Rough. I wonder if I should have gone through the math there. So what, next turn we just take 6 or 7 if they pump and then destroy us with Walking Ballista? I think I have to actually play the... No, I can't even play the Knight. I think I have to Ballista the Banishing Light, the Walking Ballista. Because it signifies 6 damage instead of just 3. Not a great spot. Rough. Just a really fast start from our opponent. The turn 1 Chalice, turn 2 Thalia just really turned off a lot of our hand. I mean, this attack even just turns off the Horizon Canopies because we can't really do anything. Yeah, really good against this deck. Especially our draw of the double Canopies. You don't usually want both canopies in this. Yeah. That's sadly a concession. So we start off this match against our green-white nemesis and go down, but that's just Magic sometimes. Yeah, pretty brutal. But at the same time, it's very cool to see green-white Maverick do well. I think it's not the most established deck, so it's cool to see more people trying it out and seeing how it goes because, you know, it does have that stompy aspect, but I think with green and white, it gives the deck a little bit more to do. I would like to respond. We are on the play. And this hand's okay. The turn 1 Verdant doesn't give away too much about the deck. And then we do have turn 2 Knight, or turn 2 Thalia, turn 3 Knight. So pretty happy to keep this. So if I wanted to hold up Swords to Plowshares, I could still hold it up through the Verdant Catacombs. But it means we wouldn't be able to get a basic forest if we wanted one. So there is definitely... I think I just don't want to get Wasteland in my early turn, so that's why I want to play the Verdant Catacombs. It also hides a lot of information. It just means, yeah, if we want to Swords to Plowshares on turn 1, we do have to go get a Savannah or something. Or really only Savannah. Oh, basic island. Interesting. Not even a snow island. That's interesting. Mum. Maybe I'd rather play Mum here. If I want to play around Daze, Spell Snare. I don't mind just going with Mum. I'm kind of a little bit afraid right now of Stifle, so I'm kind of happy just to pass. Merchant Scroll. Okay, this could be like High Tide. Force of Will. Okay. Interesting. We don't play Cavernous Souls, so we can't really play around Force of Will. I assume we can't play around them not having a blue card because they have already got 2 islands in play. I think I'm happy just playing the Thalia. I don't think there's a better line. I don't think a Knight is what we want to do here. I think Thalia is going to be fine. The kind of awkward thing is that I have to tap the Caracas if I also want to cast the Noble Hierarch, but that is a play that I'm happy to do. And maybe that as well will come back to bite me. Maybe I should have just jammed the the Thalia on turn 2. Happy to attack with Mum here. I don't think there's anything to be too afraid of. See what they actually exiled. To the Force. Another Merchant Scroll. Okay, now they get a Merchant Scroll. Maybe High Tide? Okay. Cradle. Cradle makes me think I can draw a card here. Savannah. Hopefully get another turn. We get 2 draws because we can Knight for a Horizon Canopy, which is kind of nice. But now it looks like we're just getting High Tide out of the game. Time Spiral, interesting. Oh, did they take a whole turn? Ah, then you untap, okay. I guess if they don't win this turn, they most likely are, let's be honest. We do have Green Suns for Gaddock Teague, but otherwise it's not looking too good. They are digging a little bit, which is always nice to see, but I'm going to assume they have it. Oh, interesting. I guess we can also... I mean, they most likely have a Force of Will in hand, but, you know, let's see if... Let's just, you know, let's see if they have it. We can't really do anything to play around it. There's Force, okay. So now let's go land... Play another Knight? I think another Knight is better than Mirren. Actually, I think Scribranger makes this kind of free, right? Because we get to go 1-2, untap, yeah. Scribranger, fetch, Savannah. Untap this, return this, play Knight. I like attacking for 4 here because it makes it pretty much lethal next turn. Because we get to untap Knight, and maybe wasteland ourselves. So my opponent has 4 cards. Interesting. I kind of want to sack this. No, because I have to return it as well. Verdant. Yeah, okay. Well, luckily we got there. Our opponent obviously time smiled and didn't have enough. But what I wanted to do there was fetch, make Knights 4/4s, and then be able to sack something, get a wasteland, untap the Knight with Scribranger, go to combat, swing, and then wasteland ourselves, which makes it lethal. It also, we can just target the Flooded Strand as well. But luckily we have some pretty good stuff for this deck. We have Chokes. Chokes are pretty good. Deafening Silence is pretty good. I don't mind just taking out the 4 Swords to Plowshares. Shadowspear, maybe not what we want here. We do already have lethal if we attack with Mum, but I wasn't that keen to attack with Mum, just in case they had something weird in the main deck, like a Echoing Truth effect or Chain of Vapor. So that's pretty easy. I think Veil of Summer is actually great because Brain Freeze is the win con, I believe. So I think we can take out Shadowspear, unfortunately. GW is still fine because we can get counters to just make our attacks a little bit bigger each turn. Screws and Dried Arbor are still great. I don't think this is where we want Leyline. It's just a little bit too big. And maybe I'll just drop something like... maybe a Stoneforge Mystic. I'm not really looking for the package this game. I'm definitely looking for Gaddock Teague, so Green Suns as a 4-of seems great. Not the Spice. You know what? Yeah, yeah, I gotta drop it this game. I apologize. It'd be interesting to see if they turn into like a mono blue Omnitel deck off the board, and maybe Banishing Light is worth bringing in, but until we see that, I'm not gonna bring in Banishing Light. This is interesting. I don't mind this hand. It doesn't have a great win con right now. The Veil's nice. But I really want something like a Gaddock Teague or a Noble Hierarch. And I think in this hand, really, Sylvan Library plays that role. It's nice to also have the mana to be able to cast a turn 1 Hierarch, turn 2 Sylvan Library, and then also have a Windswept Heath in case we want to, fetch away things or just not pay for them. But I think overall this hand's pretty nice. We get to cast everything that we draw into, which is really cool. Ponder's fine. What do they do with the Ponder? Chose not to shuffle, okay. So they're not digging for lands or anything. I think I'm pretty happy just to go Forest into a Hierarch here. Okay. Probably getting Force here. Okay. Ooh, that's actually pretty nice because we have the Veil of Summer. Interesting. So we could Scribranger here, untap, and then play Sylvan Library, but I kind of like holding up Veil of Summer. So let's go with Savannah. Sylvan Library. It's going to stick. Okay, that's interesting. I don't want to attack here. I think I'll just hold up the Veil. Hey, weird one. We're playing against High Tide. We lost in match 1 against Green-White Eldrazi. But now we're up against the Maverick deck. Sorry, the High Tide deck. Ponder. What do we do? I'm not sure if they bring in back to basics. I wonder if they really just want things out of the board that actually stop our hate pieces. So as good as back basics can be, I think they really want sort of like, you know, bounce effects for Thalia or Gadok and end steps so they can go off on their turn. Or just further ways to really... So I don't really want any of this, but seeing that I'm at 20 life, I'm happy just to take it all. It also just takes it out of the deck, which is nice. So here we can... Well, first up, we can cast Grip Ranger. We can play Mum. We can play a land. We could untap if we wanted to attack for 1, but I'm pretty happy just to hold up Veil here and go from there. Yeah, Eldrazi was a sweet game. Predict. Interesting. I can Veil of Summer here to actually stop this because it says target player. Oh no, but it's them. I thought it was target player like names the card, but of course it's... They name the card, they target them, they reveal the card they name from the cantrip, and they get to actually put cards in there, yeah. Okay. Preordain's gonna be fine. Teferi's Whelm. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player chooses artifact, creature, land, or non-aura enchantment. All non-token permanents of that type phase out. So I guess we can just choose artifacts. Interesting, so this is a great way for them to get rid of creatures during their turn. This is a very cool card. Yeah, really nice. That's going to be fine. So at least in our turn we can name an artifact and it does nothing. But I think here, because we're digging for 2-drops, I'm pretty happy to untap Noble here, return the Forest, and then just use this Horizon Canopy to draw a card. Okay, well, Green Suns is pretty nice. Alright, so we'll try Artifact. Another Sylvan Library. Not what we want. And 2 more lands, not what we want. So let's put on top and put on top. We don't need to use the shuffle effect because we'll most likely just use Green Suns here. So let's go with... That's if the Green Suns resolves. Interesting. Yeah, I'm happy to use 1 fetch here. So I want to hold up Veil of Summer in their turn, but I kind of want to get something like Qasali Pridemage to deal with this Teferi, and then use Sylvan Library to try to draw into other hate. We can definitely attack first. I guess I could have, if I'm getting Qasali, I could attack... I could get it first to get that extra point of damage in. I could get Gadok, but this deals with it because it actually exiles them in their turn. So I think what I'm going to do is go 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 mana. Green Suns for 2. Get Dried Arbor. Sorry, get Qasali Pridemage. Now we can untap Returning Savannah. And now we have to use Qasali on this, or else we lose Noble during their turn, so we can't actually hold up Veil of Summer. Yeah, phasing's really weird. Phasing's one of those things that I think judges are always like, ugh, I'll get my phone. Because it's yeah, it's definitely a pretty old school keyword, so a lot of new players aren't too used to it. I believe it was phasing that was used in mono blue Phyrexian Dreadnought decks that allowed it to come back, but it wasn't entering the battlefield, so you didn't have to sacrifice a creature with power, or creatures with up to power 12. No, that's cool, dude. That would be sweet. Merchant Scroll, interesting. Okay. What are you getting? High Tide. Oof. Okay. So now we get to see some fresh cards at the top. Deafening Silence is a great card. Oh, okay. Well, that's a pretty nice lump sum of cards. I'm going to put one on top and pay for the other. So here we want to probably cast the Gadokteeg first, and then the Deafening Silence, because at least then the Deafening Silence can't be forced. And if Gadokteeg is forced, we can just Veil it, so... Let's attack first. Yeah, never had it. Never had it. Never had it until you have it all. Alright. Okay, so now we have 4 mana to play with the Noble Hierarch, so we can go... Gadokteeg. Here's the Force, pitching Snap. Interesting. Okay. Let's go for Veil. They have 4 cards left. Oh, that's going to resolve. Oh, that's a big one. Okay. Now we get to untap Noble, return the Savannah, and play Deafening Silence. Nice. Very cool. Oh, Cunning Wish. Ugh. Hopefully it's not like Pyroclasm. That'd be pretty broken if they did have like an actual red source in the deck. Wipe Away. Okay. Wipe Away is pretty good as well. At least it's only return target permanent. So it's not permanence. Thalia is perfect here. So we'll put this on top. Put the Screws on top. Play Savannah. We can attack for 3 with Gadokteeg. Hey, Joanne, welcome to the stream. Hope you're having a good week. It's actually raining here in Australia, which is really nice because, of course, the fires have been sort of the worldwide news recently. They are still burning, but I believe some affected areas are getting hit by rain now, which is nice. Still, pretty awful what's happened. We'll cast the Deafening Silence first, so it doesn't cost extra through the Thalia. And they've just conceded to the second Deafening Silence, so we're back on the board, which is really nice. High Tide's an interesting one. We definitely have the tools to beat the deck and Gadokteeg and Thalia and other pieces, but yeah, it feels good to take it down because, you know, combo can sometimes be a little bit hard. The sun is shining. Or the scene. Haha, no, all good. Nice to get that win. Would have been interesting if yeah, if they had a way like I guess Cyclonic Rift does play around Gadokteeg and it returns everything. But they were pretty off. I think they only had four lands in hand. 4 lands in play, sorry. Hey, Biggie, I saw you on Twitch. Alright. Let's go on for match 3. We've been on the draw and on the play, so I'd love to keep being on the play, and we are up against Noah 0325. And sadly just a hand that we can't really keep, so the Cradle of course doesn't tap from any mana if creatures aren't in play, and we don't have any green sources to actually put the Nobles into play. So I'm going to mulligan this. This is a 1-lander, which is pretty rough. I'm not usually a fan of keeping one-landers, but if we draw just one land and bottom a Thalia, I guess we bottom the sword. We don't really need the sword. Let's try this out. We'll keep this. We'll bottom the sword. I'm gonna get a Savannah and play the Mum, even though it's a little bit risky against the Wasteland decks. I think it also shows maybe strength in my mana base, and that's why I'm getting the Savannah, because I just don't care if it gets Wastelanded. So maybe it's reverse psychology. Maybe it's something that I haven't researched. Hut. Oh, Flooded Strand, okay. That's probably a good sign, but you never know. You never know these days. Snow-covered plains, okay. Looks like a Swords to Plowshares incoming, or an Astrolabe. They probably want the swords here. Yeah, okay. Hiya! Sadly, not what we need. The worst part as well is that Thalia there would have been great against an Astrolabe deck, because Astrolabe for 2 mana just isn't as good as Astrolabe for 1 mana, which does sound like common sense, but being able to tax our opponent on their mana sources are really nice as well. Just couldn't do it. Our opponent also kept a 1-lander. Surely not. Surely this is not happening. That would be pretty funny. That would be actually hilarious if they kept a 1-lander as well. Maybe this is MTGO getting back at me because I didn't get the original art Thalias. Okay, there's a land. There's Astrolabe. Wasteland, okay. Not the greatest land, but having Thalia here is really nice. Especially because we have 2, so if one gets countered, it's not the worst. Just gonna 6 again here. Yeah, I did. You seem like good fun. Scavenging Ooze, interesting. I'm gonna attack first. I'm gonna attack first and then play the Scavenging Ooze, because in the following turn we can use Script Ranger's ability. Just get a few more creatures on board. This Thalia alone isn't really applying pressure, and I assume it's going to be dealt with in my end step by my opponent. This could even be something like an Ice Fang Codal to try to draw a card. This probably means they have Oko if they played the Trop. Snapcaster Swords. Okay. Wonder what they go after. Most likely the Thalia, because the Scavenging Ooze is just a 2/2, isn't the worst. It can be blocked by this Death Touch Ice Fang as well. Wasteland. Happy just to stick with the Thalia here. It keeps my opponent off Oko as much as possible. My opponent's also won 6 cards, which is pretty nuts. I mean, the Astrolabe replaces itself, the Ice Fang replaces itself, Snapcaster Mage pretty much replaces itself. The deck isn't too bad against Oko. I think the Mirran Crusaders help a lot, but you really rely on those fast starts with Noble Hierarchs. I think the best card against Oko in our deck is most likely Sylvan Library. It's pretty hard for them to touch, especially in game 1. It allows us to keep up with just with mana, really. But yeah, Oko, I think Oko is definitely really hard for any sort of fair creature deck because it's just so hard to deal with. It creates kind of a sub-game that you don't really want to deal with. This is an interesting one. Definitely attack. Interesting that they throw away the Ice Fang there. The interesting choice here as well is that Scribrange is nice because it allows us to use this this Savannah a few times as our land drops if we don't draw into more land. But it means we won't be able to wasteland our opponent this turn, which I kind of want to do. I think I want to just wait one more turn, unfortunately. Just to make sure that we do have a 3rd mana next turn through Scribranger. And Gadok Teeg isn't coming down this turn anyway. And there's Terminus, okay. So that's going to be fine. A little bit annoying, but not too bad. So sadly I can't use the Wasteland and make a land drop with Scribranger, because I have to tap both of these for Scribranger. I think in response to Counterbalance, I'm just going to cast the Scribranger. Hopefully see it make the floor. Yeah, sadly it's a forest, so we have to return. Hierarch. Interesting. I think I like attack first, and then second main try to play Gadok Teeg. Especially if my opponent's on the Jace route. Float green. Untap. Return this. Play this. White. I could play Crusader as well, but I think I really want to get some sort of hate bear on the field where I can still apply pressure. But are they forced it? Pitching, Spell Pierce. Okay. I'm going to take out this Volk and then pass. The Volk isn't doing too much for us, especially once this Noble Hierarch comes down, and it just keeps my opponent off Jace if they didn't have that 4th land in hand. What did my opponent do with Ponder? They chose to shuffle with Ponder. Okay. Yeah, 3rd Ponder from my opponent. Cradle. Not doing a whole lot. I'm going to go with Noble Hierarch first. See what triggers the counterbalance. Looks like you're going to brainstorm. I don't think it's worth brainstorming just to try to counter the Noble Hierarch. Especially if I haven't played a land for turn, this could be a bait for me to go Red Elemental Blast. Interesting. Didn't mean to 6. I could have played the Cradle. Nothing from my opponent, okay. Planes. Just a pass from our opponent, interesting. I guess if they play Mystic Sanctuary, they could be holding that up. Kind of want to cast this Moon Crusader now because in case they have removal for the Scrib Ranger, I just want to be able to cast it. Just gonna 5 here. Didn't mean to F6. See what they reveal. Oh, they're gonna fetch. Maybe they didn't have a 3-drop in hand or on top. Blind flip. Tundra. Oh, that's pretty good for us. I don't think they really want another land. They probably don't have the Swords to Plowshares because they did set up a Brainstorm to try to counter this. So I feel like they don't have removal in hand. Okay, maybe they do. Brainstorm, interesting. Maybe they have a Terminus in up top. Or else they would have just... Did they have Swords to Plowshares? They don't. Interesting. All right. Terminus on top is going to be pretty good. Pretty happy to use the swords here. It means the Terminus doesn't go... The Snapcaster Mage doesn't go back in the library, and we also get to just get through for more damage. I don't want to play the Mum either because of Terminus. Oh, they have a Brainstorm, okay. It's always interesting when you stream as well and you just look at the time and that, you know, I've been talking for most of this with you guys, but we have 5 minutes on our opponent, which is pretty big. Oh, this actually also means, if I didn't 6 there, I could have played the Mum. Could have played the Mum. Didn't play the Mum. Which is rough, because now if we draw into something like another Reliquary, we just can't cast it. I'm going to Swords this. There's nothing really better to Swords, and it also lets us know what's on top with Counterbalance. Shadowspear. Let's go, Mum. Let's go, Shadowspear. Can't equip just yet, unfortunately. Another Oko is pretty good. Interesting. Please don't blind fit. I really want this to come down. Teferi's pretty good. I'm just gonna concede here. We'll see. We do have, you know, 6 minutes on our opponent, so. Yeah, for sure. There's definitely little things we could have done better. To be fair, Verdant does act as Dryad Arbor, which is kind of cool. So here we'll re-equip. And pass back. So I believe we just know about Terminus in our opponent's hand, which they can cast at instant speed. Sylvan Library is pretty nice. Polluted Delta, okay. Gonna attack Teferi here. Is it degenerate if I want to make a MTGO deck that goes infinite, but the win con is causing my opponent to click so many buttons that they time out? Is that even possible? I'm not too sure. I feel like your opponent can probably set up where they just yield to everything, and so it doesn't really matter what, unfortunately, what you do. But yeah, there could be definitely maybe a deck that is pretty annoying online. I'm not too sure what it would be though. Trying to think of cards that really get us out of the situation. So is the Shadowspear owned by us? I feel like it is. So let's go for Dryad Arbor in the end step. See what's on top. Another Teferi, okay. Play Knight. We just saw Teferi on top. Wow. That is a low point, ladies and gentlemen. That is a very big low point. That is the biggest off. We just saw Teferi. We even talked about it. Oh, yep. That is a Knight Rider. That is a big pun. I can equip my creature, but I think we just die either way. I'd rather just try to get into games 2 and 3, if there is a game 3. So Choke is great, Council's Judgment is great, Veil of Summer is great. Collector Oath is actually really nice, especially against their mana base. I don't mind dropping all Swords to Plowshares. I don't mind going down on 2 Knight of Reliquaries and just having the 4 Beaters and Mirrors and Knights. Scavenging Ooze is fine, Qasali Primage is fine, Gaddock Teague is still fine. We don't really rely that much on equipment, so I think we can probably drop the Stoneforge package and just have the equipment in the deck. I could definitely see us dropping Wastelands as well, at least one. So maybe I actually do want something like... Maybe like one sword, just in case they do have something like Containment Priest that can be pretty annoying. Hey, thanks Biggie, all the best. Thanks for coming in. Have a nice week ahead. Dried Militant seems great against Snapcaster Mage and also Mystic Sanctuary. Deafening Silence, I sadly just think it doesn't do a lot. Our opponent's also not on the mentor plan, so I could see some consideration for it on the play against a mental strategy because you're wanting to just really slow down the ability for them to go wide. Yeah, Dried Militant seems pretty sweet, and it seems sweet against this deck as well because it also hits Snapcaster Mage and Mystic Sanctuary. I think we're fine with just this. Maybe I just want to have one Swords in the deck, just in case they do bring in something a little bit spicy. Yeah, Militant seems pretty great. I'd love to play first. And this hand is a bunch of 1-drops, but I don't mind it. It makes our mana really nice, which is cool. Gonna lead with Noble. We don't have anything like Thalia in the opening hand, which is a little bit rough, but I'm pretty happy with the ability just to cast anything we draw into, like Thalia. So one thing I like doing here, which is a little bit subtle, is casting the Thalia first. This is an interesting one. So if I play the Karakas and then play Thalia, or cast Thalia, my opponent might be more inclined to force it because they see that their removal is not going to be great against Karakas. But I don't mind them forcing it because we have the Veil of Summer. So maybe I actually want to play the Karakas here. Play Karakas, play Thalia. It actually is going to resolve straight away. Now I'm pretty happy to play the bird. And pass back. Swords is fine. Scoos. Let's go land. Shadowspear. Equip. And start swinging. I feel like Brainstorm either means Terminus or they have a fetch land and they're wanting to fetch away some cards they didn't really want. That most likely means Terminus, so I don't see us doing too much this turn in regards to building out a board state. Unless we draw, yeah, I was going to say Green Sun Zenith. Ice Fang Codal. That's going to be fine. If they're trading here, they most likely don't have Terminus then. So maybe I'm more inclined to actually cast Scavenging Ooze here. Holding up 2 green sources. So one thing I don't want to do this turn either is just tap out for Scavenging Ooze, because then my opponent could go Snapcaster Swords to Plowshares. But I guess we could eat the swords first if we really wanted to. What's the Shadowspear for? The Shadowspear is really just for testing to see if it's any better than Batterskull. Why didn't you play a land? I definitely could have played a land. That was just a bit of a screw up, to say the least. Judgment's pretty good. I guess we might as well eat some of their stuff. So Swords to Plowshares can be eaten. And then I think that's it. I kind of want to just keep up Dried Arbor to keep the damage flowing. I don't mind Windswept Heath because if a... I don't think a Terminus would be on top because I've just spent a Council's Judgment to get rid of one of my creatures. So I might as well just go Savannah. Equip. Swing for 3. But yeah, Shadowspear is taking the place of Batterskull in this deck just for now. Just to see how it performs. The trample seems pretty relevant when you can have pretty big knights and your opponents just have, you know, Death Touch creatures or True Name or Young Pyromancer tokens. And sometimes it does get a little bit stuck in our hand, the old Batterskull, so it should be pretty fun to test it out. But yeah, maybe we just kept a hand that was a little bit too mana tight. Sword is going to be interesting to see if it sticks. Because it also means we can play around Ice Fang Codal, which is pretty huge. Snap Brainstorm? Maybe try to find Swords to Plowshares? Or try to, like, flip Terminus in the blind? I'm just gonna go face. I think. Do I want to deal with the Snapcaster Mage? So if they land Oko and tick up on the sword, we don't have lethal. Face, face, face. So face is pretty good. It puts them to 5. Next turn, the Dried Arbor is lethal either way. But if they do somehow get rid of the Swords to Plowshares... Sorry, the... let's just go face. We get to draw a card here as well, which is nice. Kusali's not the worst. It is a threat, at least, that can be equipped. But our opponent's also pretty close to just 6 lands and Terminus Hardcast. But one nice thing about Terminus here is that it actually just drops the Dried Arbor back into the deck, so a fetch land can find it. Interesting. What are they trying to set up here? Maybe trying to draw into Swords to Plowshares? Is that what they're trying to achieve? The Sword of Fire and Ice right now just beats the board. Yeah, it looks a little bit like Desperate Digging, which is great for us, but I feel like in a deck like this with so much value, it's something they can probably find pretty easily, unfortunately. Maybe now they have like Brainstorm in our turn for Terminus, and that's about it. Script Ranger. Let's go to attacks. They have the swords. Rough. I guess we can actually return it with Script Ranger, which is kind of nice. And if they want to force this, then we have Veil of Summer, which is pretty cool. What are they going to do? What's the haps? I could have spread the equipment, but then the Noble Hierarch just dies to either one of these. Should have tapped Noble for the Ranger. Yeah, I think either way we get value off the Noble Hierarch this turn. But I can definitely see where you're coming from, because then we get the double tap. My opponent saying something? Nope. They're also down to 5 minutes, which I never like playing the clock, but it definitely is part of MTGO, so... You know, you take what you can get. Yeah, maybe they are. Maybe they're really thinking about the blowout of, if they have Veil, what happens then? But I mean, they've already stopped the attack this turn. We're not dealing damage. They're not losing this turn. Did they start double queuing in anger? Well, they are up a game as well, so we'll see how this plays out. Really snacky. Oh, nice. May have just found some jelly beans, which is kind of nice. But I've been going through the colors of the jelly beans, and it's kind of just the black and white ones that are left, which is kind of the worst ones. Let's be honest. There's no fun in black and white jelly beans. That's why they're colored. Hopefully they're not having connection issues. That always sucks. Okay, it's going to resolve. Now we can, I guess, untap and return the Dryad Arbor. I don't mind playing the Dryad Arbor here, even though it does play into Terminus a little bit. Just because it turns on every fetch land to be a lethal threat with sort of Fire and Ice. Dryad Arbor. I don't think there's a reason to... yeah, I'm going to put the sword on Dryad Arbor and then just pass. The red ones are the best. Red, pink, ruby, whatever colors you want to make them. Any sort of red color is just always the best. Oko's fine. See what they try to do here. Maybe try to hit the sword? They're going to try to hit the sword. I think in response here, we just have to give Veil a go. Because it does stop the ability of Oko. It can no longer target the Sword of Fire and Ice. There's Force pitching Jace, which is pretty huge. So that's going to be fine. We're pretty close because the Shadowspear Noble is enough. And also Kusali as a backup is really nice. Oof, okay. Wow. Alright. Did that just show me Entreat? Interesting. Let's just submit the same deck and see how it goes. Wow. Okay, they just gave up. I guess it is pretty tough for them to win in 3. But we'll take it. We'll take it. Yeah, maybe connection. I'm gonna put that down to connection issues, which is really unfortunate for my opponent, but I've definitely been there. We've been there on stream. It's not great, especially in Australia, which doesn't have the greatest internet. Luckily, I'm in a position to have fiber to the premises, but, you know, there's a lot of streamers out there that struggle, and they keep streaming, so props to them. Alright. On the play against Nielsen 333. This hand's rough. So again, we have the Cradle hand being our green source, but we can't actually cast anything. We can't even go Green Suns for Dryad Arbor turn 1, so I'm pretty happy to mulligan this hand. This is really a no-lander, so we're definitely not keeping this. This is fine. We'll keep this. I'm going to put back the Savannah. I like the Wasteland and Caracas because they're kind of spells. But we definitely put back the Savannah. And maybe just the Ooze. I think the Knight's probably the better card here. So let's go with Windswept Heath Pass. Probably just getting a basic off this, just to make the mana base a little bit more Wasteland friendly. But it's tough. Ayavugan. Okay. Okay. Mimic's good. Please don't have multiple Mimics. Okay. So that's a pretty good Wasteland target. We can also trade with the Mimic with a Dryad Arbor, which is kind of funny. Because it also pumps the Knight. Ah, they've already got the Walking Blister. Okay. No, I think the Knight's just better. To be fair, I should have played the plains there, just in case they are on Wasteland. It means they couldn't Wasteland us until we play the Knight. So that's probably a misplay playing the Savannah there. Yeah. So luckily they don't, but they most likely just have a Thought Knot here. Oh, maybe a Reality Smasher. That's going to make things pretty difficult. Okay. Now we're pretty much dead. Yeah, we're just too slow. Because even if we play the Knight as a 4/4, it dies to the Reality Smasher, they have the Walking Blister. Yeah. Didn't really matter about the land drops, but that's just a little bit too fast for my opponent. The Mulder 5 definitely didn't help, but that's just Magic sometimes. Banishing Light, Path, Council's Judgment, Thalia's down to 2. I still like 1 Thalia just because of First Strike. Gaddock Teak. This is pretty fine. I guess maybe Teak's actually worth it in case they bring in All Is Dust. It's a pretty brutal card to deal with. And Mum doesn't really do a whole lot in this game, other than maybe trade with a Mimic. This is how we're going to board. This is the way. We'd love to play first. This is a fine hand because of the Green Suns. I'm going to keep this. Go for Dried Arbor. This is fine. And I think just because we're not on Batterskull... Oh, Cradle's interesting. Does Cradle change anything? Not really. I played the Knight there because I'm not really scared of Thought-Knots here. Because we have 2 ways to deal with it. Hey, Jesus, welcome to the stream. What's up with you? How's your week going? Endless one for 3 is going to be fine. Food Chain Mav. Very cool. Very cool. I'm going to need to see a list. Oh, this is spice. This is pretty nice. So we can play Cradle. We can definitely wasteland our opponent. I can also play Script Ranger for free. I can play Stoneforge Mystic this turn as well. I'm gonna get Jide in this matchup. I could also I couldn't cast it this turn. Oh, pretty close to it. Yeah, they're just gonna concede. Tapped out. Emrakul? Haha. Fiery Empath. Interesting. Woodland Bellower is very cool. That looks sick. That looks very cool. We're going to play back the same list. We're going to play back the, yeah. It's something I'd really change on the play. Collect Oof maybe, but this hand is an interesting one. It's a little bit slow and can be hit by Chalice pretty badly because Noble Hierarch's really our second land drop. I think I'm happy to mulligan this once. This hand's a lot better, we'll keep this. I'll bottom the Dryad Arbor. We have a way to deal with Chalice. Mimic's fine. I think I'm happy to take my opponent off the Ancient Tomb just for a turn. Just to stop a turn 2 Thought Knot. Urborg's a lot less scary, which is really nice. So I believe aggro Eldrazi always plays Urborg, just so you can use things like Eye of Ugin for actual mana. And if it becomes in the late game, you can actually just tap your Ancient Tombs for black instead of actually taking the 2. There's Chalice. Chalice for 1. I think our best draw is just Wasteland here. Mum. Alright, so luckily we do have this. Pride Mage. I'm going to keep it around because at least it can block the Mimic for a turn. And then we can just sack before damage. Thought Knot is fine. Can't stop that. Sadly, the Mum's still in the deck just because we didn't have really any better cards to bring in. So we get to block, and then before damage, destroy the Chalice. Noble. Interesting. I think I'd rather just Teague and Militant, because at least they can double block the Thought Knot and maybe give me another turn. Or give me a redraw with the Thought Knot's ability. Smash is pretty good. I guess the Mum's pretty good at being discarded to the Reality Smasher's ability. Banishing Light, okay. That does deal with the Reality Smasher. But now we have to actually draw a land as well. Oof. Doesn't really do it. This is a really tough spot. Yeah, the issue is we just don't have any cards to actually take out that are worse than Mum. Or bring in that are worse than Mum. So Knight doesn't do anything. Banishing Light doesn't do anything. I feel like we just have to go a little bit wide here. Unfortunately. Maybe try to buy a turn? Yeah, this is game 3. So we have to block like this. Yeah, we go to 1? Oh, no, because it all tramples over. Yeah, we can't do anything that game. Sadly. Yeah, he's got trample. I totally, totally blanked on trample there. Rough. But yeah, Chalice there just way too good. Again, just a little bit too fast for us. Just can't get under it. We don't have anything like Abrupt Decay or... Yeah, really just Abrupt Decay in the black versions. Alright, we'll play first. I think this hand's just a little bit too slow. It doesn't have a straightforward creature. The swords are just going to be dead against combo decks, so I'm pretty happy to mulligan this. This is a lot better. This is probably nearly a perfect hand. Just a matter of what do I drop. I think it might even just be the plains. Drop the plains. Turn 1 Noble, turn 2 Mum and Thalia, or turn 2 Green Suns for 2. Yeah, drawing Mum is a little bit oof. Especially when we only have 3 in the deck, and we've taken out, I believe... Well, I think we took out 1. Alright. Get a Savannah. Play Noble. Mox Diamond, okay. Cavernous Souls, interesting. Mox Diamond, okay. Ancient Tomb. Turn 1 Thought-Knot's pretty good. We do have Wasteland, which is nice. But the Mox Diamonds are going to be an issue to deal with when trying to take away their mana. Maybe we can just draw into Knight. Oh, we do! That's pretty nice. Revoker's pretty good. Noble. Let's go... I've got an idea. I'm going to play the Noble and the Mum, and then if they attack with the Thought-Knot Thea, thinking we can only make the Knight a 4/4, we can actually Wasteland ourselves to make the Knight a 5/5. And then just try to ride the Knight to victory. We'll see what happens first. This could be Once Upon a Time, actually. It is. Ancient Tomb, okay. Interesting, they are going to attack with the Thought-Knot. So our plan kind of works. Block with Knight. And then before damage, Wasteland ourselves. Draw a card. Do we draw a land? Cradle would be insane. Mum, okay. Maybe they have Walking Blister, I guess, which could finish off the night, but they don't. Verdant, okay. I guess we just go attacking. Which is more than 7 because the Ancient Tombs add up as well. Gotta make a white for Mum. Alright, here we go. This is definitely, like, if this is the meta where we play against 2 Eldrazi decks in a league, maybe I don't mind playing some number of Giver of Runes over Mother of Runes. Again, this is just going to be the Banishing Lights, Path, Council's Judgment. I don't mind the Collector Oof because we did see the Mox Diamonds. It does, as I said before, shut off our Shadowspears, but I think it does a little bit less for us than it does for them. I'm just going to take out the Thalias and probably the Gaddock. Mums can be good in this matchup just because of the white splash and the green splash as well. That is a swole night. That is a swole night indeed. A lot of combo hate. Not the worst hand. I don't mind it. I don't mind it. We have a nice answer for Chalice. We have a nice answer for creatures. We have basics which play around Thalia Hereticatha really well. Just a Windswept Heath pass, okay. Let's play the Plains and just hold up swords. Probably human. Could be Eldrazi, but probably human. Rest in Peace is actually fine with the board we currently have. I think Cavern actually does alright in Maverick. You have a lot of creatures. Yeah, I think you can definitely play Cavern in Maverick if you really want to. I'm going to go with Mirren here. Am I going to go with Mirren? Yeah. I was going to say I could go with Mum to hold up Swords to Plowshares for like something like Thought-Knot, but just having the Mirren is so good. Funny thing is, my opponent could be playing Banishing Light. Blessed Alliance, which makes you sack an attacking creature. Which, I think they probably have other routes for Mirren, but we'll see what happens here. Ballista for 2, okay. Oh, interesting. We could Green Suns. We can Green Suns here for Collector Oof and see if they do anything. Let's do that. Let's see if they respond to this. They probably think it's Qasali Pride Mage. I reckon they think it's Qasali Pride Mage. They're gonna let this resolve. Yes. Very nice. Very nice. Now we can hold up swords as well if we wish. I'm just gonna hold up swords. That's much better. Peace out, lead. Hey, Foxorus, welcome to the stream. The beard grows weary. I feel like my opponent's having a thinking moment. Revoker. That's going to be fine. Revoker's an interesting one. I did not. I did not. But maybe I will. Maybe I'll put something together for Riley, the fellow Australian. I was lucky enough to make it once onto the Channel Fireball Plays of the Week top 5. But I haven't since then. I think they can attack here. It's kind of a free attack. Because they're most likely not blocking with the Ballista. I think they're far away off 0 life. The question is, do I want a swords here? And I think I do. Just because my opponent isn't holding up something... Okay, so here's worst case. We swords Walking Ballista. In response, they dismember Collector Oof and then use Walking Ballista to kill the Mirren Crusader. So I think he would just untap. We play Savannah. We move to combat. We can swing with the Mirren. I believe that is not a positive button. I believe that's a negative button. So please don't report me. If they double block, we can swords 1, which is kind of nice. They're going to let it through. Alright, let's go with Sword of Fire and Ice. And then I'm going to play Mum. Do I care about Mum? I'm going to hold up Horizon Canopy here. A little bit Orcs, but I think there's a way that we can actually try to get through this. Here's 4 mana. What's this going to be? Oh, Palace Jailer. Interesting. Jailer's going to be fine. If it takes the Oof, we can swords the Walking Ballista. Alright. No attacks. Interesting. Another Mirren. Oof. Okay, so we can play the Dried Arbor. We kind of have to deal with this Ratchet Bomb. We can then attack with the Mirren. Pretty happy if they double block, because then we just 2 for 1. And then I'll just equip the sort of Fire and Ice to the Dried Arbor. I guess the Wasteland kind of stops me a little bit, so maybe that's not the best play. Interesting. Now our Mum's turned online, which is really nice. Alright. Feeling a bit better. Oh, this could be like Orzhov Pontiff. It is. Okay. This is where I want to draw Shadowspear, let's be honest. Banishing Light again. Yeah, the Pontiff can't block, that's very true. So maybe we just go another Mirren here. Maybe my opponent should have Wastelanded us. The Wasteland stops this play of us being able to cast both Mirrens. Or have Mirren and also equip. Which is interesting. Oh, I could have just killed them. I totally forgot about the pro-black. Well, now I really hope we win this game, or else that's pretty rough. Because I just missed lethal. I literally just had lethal. Always check chat before attacks. Bomb's too slow. Interesting that they cast it. Maybe they feel they have another something up their sleeve. I think that's just it. Yeah, okay. So we go 3-2. Yeah, I was trying to think maybe like Swords to Plowshares, but they probably need multiple Swords to Plowshares there, and they probably just don't have them, unfortunately. We did get one chest, which we will open. Primeval Titan. It's a playable card. It's not too bad. Something you could play in Maverick if you're playing the Field of the Dead versions. Open all these little packs. Oh, this is mine. Nice. False Prophet. Nice. A card that isn't played in really anything, but pretty cool. Yeah, Primeval Titan's a pretty cool card. So what did I think about this list? The big issue with this like test stream was that Shadowspear and Dryad Militant at one-ofs, so you're not going to see them regularly, and you're really only going to see them when you either Green Sun Zenith for Dryad Arbor, or you Stoneforge Mystic for Shadowspear. I got play points. We can use play points to get more ticks, so it all works out. This list was pretty nice. There were a few times where Chalice was a little bit of an issue, especially on the draw. So maybe it's actually worth trying out a Cavernous Souls in just this green-white list, because the mana is already pretty nicely consistent. And I could see this deck going up to the 24th land. I guess Palace Jailer could have been in this list. The one thing that I don't like about Palace Jailer is that it can be pretty swingy with the crown, and that kind of adds a bit of inconsistency to a deck that really relies on its consistency. So that was why I'm not a big fan of Powerless Jailer. I like it a lot in Death and Taxes because you have your flicker effects. You can use its ability more than once, but in Maverick you don't really get that chance. I could see some amount of Planeswalkers maybe coming back into the mix, like Nissa Vital Force or Garruk. Relentless is pretty cool. But yeah, I don't have much more to say about this, let's be honest. The deck kind of plays itself sometimes. You can only really play with what you get. Cliche, insert cliche. Sylvan Library is really nice. So Sylvan Library is a card that I think has come on the downtick recently, but I really like Sylvan Library against the Oko decks because it's not usually a card they can really deal with. I think a lot of the decks have moved away from sort of removal like Council's Judgment because you have Oko. You can kind of deal with whatever you want. But Sylvan Library just allows you to keep up with card advantage as well, which is nice. And enchantments just traditionally are pretty hard to deal with in Legacy, especially for black decks, which is kind of nice. But yeah, I think this deck played pretty well. I'm not a massive fan of Stoneforge Mystic, but it's okay. I feel like it's a lot less of a threat without Batterskull, so having it to test with Shadowspear is kind of a necessity, but I think if I was going into a tournament with a competitive tournament with Maverick, I would probably try to stay with Stoneforge Mystic less deck and just keep the consistency of Green Suns and Sylvan Library going. I think they're probably your two strongest cards when it comes to really fighting on the top tables against some of the combo decks and the blue decks and the other fair decks. So that's always interesting. We have a few people playing Magic that I'm going to actually sing you guys over to. So I'm going to put on some music. A huge thank you for you guys for coming in and watching. A huge thank you to those who followed as well. My name is Dukes on Twitch. You can find me on Twitch on Wednesday nights at 7:30 PM Australian Eastern Standard Time, and Sunday mornings at Australian Eastern Standard Time of 10 AM. Jesus, thank you very much for coming in. You can find me on Twitter at Dukes on Twitch. Hey, thank you very much. Yeah, I'd love to start doing Pioneer, even Pioneer Online. I do have a deck. I have a friend's deck. It's a junk mid-range deck, which looks pretty fun. Which, you know, there's some actual events coming up at Vault Games soon, which is a local LGS in Brisbane. But yeah, I will be doing some Pioneer, especially some content. Some Pioneer content would be cool. Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Dukes on Twitch on Twitter. You can find me on YouTube at /c/Dukes on Twitch. I'm actually going to send you all these in chat because that's just what I should be doing. Hey, Spatula of the Ages. Thanks for the follow. Let me know where you're from. Let me know where you're from in chat. Loxodon Spider. Yeah, Loxodon Spider is one of my favorite cards. Fun fact, Green White Hate Bears was the deck that I entered Modern into with. So I'm a big fan of that. There's my Twitter in chat. You can find my YouTube here. You can, of course, also find me at Green Sun Zenith. There is content coming out. I have been pretty slack the past couple of months in getting content out, but we'll see how it goes. Oh, you're living in Brussels? That's pretty cool. I've been to Brussels a few times. Really nice city. You guys have that really weird structure. It looks like a, I'm not going to say an aquarium, but it has like a few cylinders in the mix. It's kind of like a design architecture piece. That's it. That is 100% it. Yeah, pretty cool. Yeah, Abzan, I'd probably go back to maybe next week. So this was the list that I had a little while back. Looking at some other versions. This was a pretty cool list that we played. I'm a big fan of Savine's Reclamation. I think that's really good. That's from the 50s. It definitely kind of looks like it's from the 50s. Just a little pick there. But yeah, a huge thank you guys. That is me. Enjoy your weeks ahead. Is Prelate pretty good right now? I think Prelate is pretty good right now. This is a little bit older, but you know, it's always tough because especially against the Bant Miracles decks, you have Swords to Plowshares on 1, you have Terminus on 6, you have Supreme Verdict on 3. Oh, I just rejected you. I apologize. I did not mean to reject you. You have Supreme Verdict on 4, and you have Oko and Council Judgment on 3. So there's a bunch of removal to be worried about. Yeah, sorry, Fox. I didn't even think. I just let it go. So I think Prelate's a lot better when you know what you're coming up against. But I think there's still a lot of decks that it just does a lot against. Ah, what a legend! Look at this. 2 ticks just to make sure we can get into the next event. Too kind. Yeah, so I think that Prelate has its place in the format if you know the format. If you know what decks you're coming up against and what you're going to be doing, then yeah, go for Prelate. I think Prelate's pretty good in this deck as well, where you can cast it turn 2 with a Mana Dork. Because you know, the new Breach decks can easily beat a Gaddock Teague, but they're a little bit harder to... It's probably a little bit harder to deal with the Prelate. Alright. That is it. Thank you very much. I'll see you guys next time. Enjoy your weeks ahead. Be safe, and we'll speak to you soon. Cheers.